Welcome back to Houston Newsmakers, where I'm joined by Dr. Bob Sanborn, the president and CEO of Children at Risk, a nonprofit organization whose main mission is to understand and address the root causes of child poverty and inequality. That is a succinct statement with a lot of branches of concern. You saw where the city council has established a food insecurity board, Dr. Sanborn, and I know that that's something that's unique, something that Councilmember Pollard said a lot of other cities have had, and we were kind of late getting on the bandwagon. Your thoughts about their move to do so?
Yeah, anytime that we can address this, Kimbrell, this whole idea of food insecurity is important, especially as it relates to kids. We live in a city where new immigrants, Latinos, are the key groups that traditionally do not ask for help when there's hunger around. So we have significant food insecurity. You know, a couple of years ago, we worked with the group, the Food Trust, to map out food insecure areas, food deserts all over the city of Houston. We know that we have a challenge that the food bank, which is the best food bank in the country, which they can't really meet. And it's going to come down to the benefits, filing for benefits, working and partnering with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and getting those taxpayer dollars, which we all pay for, to be invested in terms of food insecurity. It's so important. Kids are hungry in the summer when there's no school. Whenever school is out, we have no after-school supper in most of our school districts in the Houston area. So there's significant food insecurity.
Obviously, awareness, raising awareness, even raising this conversation up is something that would be helpful, not only as it helps to change some of the ways our governments work, but just making sure that the nonprofits who need the support can get the support to make it all better.
Yeah, I think that's on target, right? We have the food bank does such a good job in terms of partnering with others, but I think there needs to be a lot more collaboration in our city, and hopefully this food insecurity board will help with this, but really at focusing on those areas that have traditionally not reached out for help, and getting into some of the communities that really need help. Right. We know that when kids are food secure when they're eating, they're going to be much more productive members of society, and they're going to pay their taxes. They're going to be part of our vibrant economy. And so when we focus on food insecurity with kids, it's all about making sure that we're securing our future. It's not just about being ashamed of having hunger in our city. Right. It's investing in our future as well.
And the pandemic has certainly thrown a curveball to all of us, has it not? Certainly the inequities have grown a bit. Talk about some of the research your organization has done about those areas that we really need to pay attention to, that the pandemic has really exacerbated.
Yeah, one of the key areas is early education. And all over the state, we've been working around early education, so daycare, pre-K, making sure that those areas are really getting the boost that they need. We had a lot of child care facilities in our state shut down during the pandemic. A lot of these are mom and pop operations. And a lot of times people don't realize this is sort of the foundation of academic learning and academic success in our state. We need to bolster those up. Luckily in Austin, they've been very engaged in this. In Washington, putting funding towards early education. And we're going to need to embrace that even more as we move forward. One of the key things that a lot of people don't realize is that children that grow up in low-income families, that's 60% of our state, of the kids that are growing up in these families. When they get pre-K, they are much, much more likely to be successful academically. And so we really need to make sure kids are going there. And during the pandemic, no one was going to pre-K. And so we're going to need to sort of get up to speed. I think beyond that, there's a lot of pandemic learning loss in the K through 12 area. And again, the federal government has provided ESSER funding, special funding for kids to get back up to speed, for school districts to use that money to get these kids back up to speed. We're going to need to see some very innovative programs going on in our schools to get kids where they need to be. This could represent for us a huge setback in the progress we've made with children growing up in low-income families, but we need to get on it.
Well, it sounds like there's a bipartisan efforts across the board to go ahead and make that a priority.
Yeah, you know, in Texas, we have to be bipartisan in a lot of this stuff, right? Bob Dole, who passed away, a Republican candidate for president, used to say there's no such thing as good legislation unless it's bipartisan. And I think that's very important in a state like Texas when you have everyone working together for kids, right? Everyone loves kids. And so what can we do to make sure that early education, K through 12, are doing the things that they need to do to make sure that we're helping kids.
Your organization's name is Children at Risk, which in the name implies, okay, there's some things that aren't really going to be good if we don't kind of change the way we go. Talk about where you can find optimism. As we go into 2022, where are your optimism points?
Yeah, I think you're right. When you look at the data, why would you be optimistic, right? The data does not bode well for our kids in the state of Texas. But we live in Texas, and everyone does love kids. We all want kids to be successful. And when I go out into the community and when I meet with parents, they want their kids to be successful. And I think by pulling together, we're going to see good things happen. And I'm optimistic when we look at some of the stuff, the results around pre-K. I'm optimistic when we see what's happening right now with this Food Insecurity Board. I'm optimistic when I see our state government and our local government working together for children, and our federal government on top of that funding some key initiatives, right? We have to be positive because otherwise the future is bleak without a bright future for our kids.
Well,
and we do need to understand the majority of our children are those kids that are at risk. But we all have to work to secure that future.
And I'm an eternal optimist, so we have a club we can join together, you and me. Okay, let's make it work. Dr. Sanborn, thank you for your insight and for your optimism. Best wishes for the year ahead. We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, good new year to you.
Thank you, sir.